Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Victoria 2, Heart of Darkness. Where we last left off, we were sieging Korea as some of our navy slowly sank to the bottom of the ocean, so gonna fix that real quick. And yeah, so let's keep on taking over Korea. I'm gonna let this run pretty slow at first and look at one of the new big features in Heart of Darkness, which is the large number of dominions that colonial powers will release, such as Portugal has released Angola and Mozambique, twice in the latter case, to free up some extra space for them to continue to colonize. It looks like Great Britain has released British Columbia. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a lot of others going on right now, but I'm sure that as the rush for or the scramble for Africa rather heats up, the number of released nations will increase exponentially. So we should see a very colorful sort of Africa and colonial empires shape up. So with that said, I'm going to speed us up a little bit, keeping an eye on finances, which are doing all right for the moment. And we're just going to go ahead and siege down Korea. After all, what's Korean should be Japanese. Alright, we took Kaesong. So we're going to move on over to Sariwan. I can't pronounce any of these words. I definitely should have played somewhere that I actually know the names of provinces. But that's some of the fun, right? Alright. These irregulars are doing a pretty poor job of sieging, taking a long time, but they're getting the job done eventually. We're slowly building up to the 85% that we'll need before Korea will capitulate. Looks like we got another newspaper. More wars, a little bit more flavor text. Apparently the USA is benevolent, so, good for them. Arc de Triomphe in Paris was commissioned and finally unveiled, so much later than Napoleon originally planned it, but it's a nice looking piece of architecture if you ever get the chance to go see it. And we're just sieging away. I'm going to go ahead and turn off this rally point. I think these guys can just hang out here in the home islands and be alright for a while. Going to go and invade Pyongyang, which fortunately might have a little bit of connection with recent history, or recent events and possible outcomes. Our money's starting to run a little low, so I'm going to drop education and administration just to make sure we're in the green for a little while. Another newspaper. Apparently we're interested in how Saxon is afraid of Saxe Coburg Gotha. Now somebody invented pit coal, which was good for them, I guess. I'm not really sure what pit coal is, but I know the invention gives a huge increase to coal. So it should lower the price for whatever that's worth. Once we get industrialized, it might help us out. And just chugging away at Korea. They should give up here very soon, I'm hoping. I can't understand why they haven't yet, considering they have no army. It looks like, based on these little guys here that seem to be doing work, it looks like they're trying to build an army, but I do not expect them to be successful. They have no military power. They're essentially a nothing, and once they give up, they will become actually a nothing. And I should get a nice big chunk of research points, too. Maybe give myself some better weapons. Maybe even try and take on China. Not yet, but pretty soon. I could take Manchuria. Ooh, no, they're allied with China. I could not take Manchuria. But that's okay. I'm happy with Korea for the moment. Looks like... There we go. Finally got a peace offering. Excellent. Let's see how many of these. Oh my, we completely maxed out the research points. So what to get? I'm going to get imported weapons. Flintlock rifles are a very useful technology, as it can increase attack. And it looks like that's... Oh, I have to wait until the next reform, that's why. that point, probably going to do the financial reform just so that we can get a little bit more taxes out of our people, create a little bit bigger army. Let's see. Money's still kind of tight. I'm going to drop supply for land units a little bit, and we should be back in the green, so I guess I actually don't even need to do that. Can't move education or administration at all, though. So yeah, I'll just move these guys around and see what they can do. There we go. Well, not quite back in the green. Our values are jumping pretty randomly right now, but if it starts running real close to 0, I'll bump down education. Looks like liberals and reactionaries are gaining back a little bit from conservatives, but not enough to really make any difference. I'm going to drop naval spending again, because they're not going to be fighting. If they are, they've already lost. And drop down administration, education. Maybe just education. Administration can still sit at 70. Alright, everybody seems to be doing pretty well. Another new feature of Heart of Darkness is that you can disband undermanned brigades rather than just waiting there and hoping that they slowly build up enough people to support a brigade. I'm not going to do that for the moment, but I might delete one of these stacks here soon anyways, just to save a little bit of money. Another newspaper. Nothing really noteworthy, just some nice, more flavor. That's about all you can expect from the newspapers. I may forget about them as events heat up. Looks like our literacy is dropped pretty significantly from getting Korea, and our number of clergymen as well. So our research points went down. But on the whole, this isn't a huge deal because we have a lot accumulated, and we're just about to get to 2% in Kansai. So I will move this national focus to Chuba, as there's really no point to have over 2%. Looks like, finally, the namesake of the game, Victoria, is sitting on the British throne, so Buckingham Palace just got a little bit nicer, I suppose. Here she's quite the looker. Maybe we'll have to go stop by London and see her here at some point. Another reform's available, so I'm going to grab the financial reform, which should put our money back. Yeah, there we go. Making money hand over fist. Ugh. TB showed up in Kanto, so guess there's another drop in population. I could really use some medicine, which stops these sorts of events from happening. But until I'm civilized, that's out of the picture. Alright, let's mess with these sliders. I'm thinking I'm going to put all of this up to 100%. Raise defense spending to 56%. Still has that 1% bonus plus the 5% additional. There's no reason to raise naval, although I could afford to at this point. And I'm going to go ahead and just drop each of these by a little bit. Might as well take advantage of our surplus to lower the burden on the lower class and on all of our nice pops that are doing so much fighting and dying for their country. Oof. Yeah, definitely do not want to take on China. Looking at these number of troops, it would not be a lot of fun. Though from the look of it, there's a lot of Korean soldiers that we would be able to build. In fact, I'm going to build up another army. I've got the cash lying around, so... And unfortunately, I won't be able to choose just Japanese here. But as a benefit of flintlock rifles, we do have infantry now, as opposed to irregulars, who gain greater advantages from inventions, as well as just being overall much better troops. So, I'm going to build up 4 infantry here on the peninsula, and a couple cavalry, and leave it at that for the moment. Leaves me an extra 2 if I absolutely need to, plus a very large number of free pops on the home islands, but why let our national pops die if we can let the new colonial ones do it? Another major feature of Heart of Darkness is the crisis system, which we really haven't seen much yet. But for as the game progresses, there will be cores that lead to liberation movements, and liberation movements will raise tension. As the tension increases, the chance of a crisis happening increases, and once it breaks out, great powers are offered the chance to back one side or the other, and can basically dictate what will happen in the world around them. So it can be some very serious stuff if it's not taken care of, but for the moment, it's early enough in the game, we probably shouldn't have to worry about it, and Korea is unlikely to get a very big liberation movement without me being able to suppress it. So we'll keep an eye on it just to make sure that the tension doesn't get too high, but I'm not overly worried. Looks like not all that much of note in the paper, although for whatever reason the flower here next to the name has changed, and I believe it did change. The name of the paper. Yes, looking at old ones, the name of the paper changed. I'm not sure why that would be. It might be due to being more civilized now. We might rank as, well, no, we're still an uncivilized nation. Don't even rank as developing. So, I'm not sure why that is, but we'll just let it be for now. Another available reform. Railroads would be nice. I'm thinking I'm going to have to go for the education, though. The extra efficiency will raise our literacy rates, which will raise the research rate, which in the long run is very useful. On the other hand, some of these other ones give technologies, which are also extremely useful. And railroads are nothing to scoff at. Probably even be worthwhile to wait until we get one of these technologies that give us factories. Let's look at which these are. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to have to wait for industrial progress. Water wheel power gives a pretty significant boost to mining and farming, which is very much worthwhile since right now we're completely an agricultural economy. Once infamy drops a little bit, I'm starting to look hungrily at Brunei, considering they have no allies and apparently no military. So, one brigade according to the diplomacy page. So, I'm going to wait and let my infamy drop a little bit more, just in case conquest gets found instantly and I have to take the 22 infamy hit. So for the moment, I'm just going to hang tight, sit here, and sort of twiddle my thumbs. Building up this infantry, which is starting to mass in Pyongyang, which I think is how you pronounce that. I'm not sure. If I'm offending anyone with my terrible pronunciation, my bad, don't speak Korean. It might be worthwhile to build... Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and build another 6 ships. Just because being able to send 2 of these stacks over at once would be very useful for the sake of being able to invade and conquer this small island nation. And in addition, I'm going to build another 6 units. So 2 cavalry, and 4 infantry, all from Kyushu. Because let's keep them close to home, right? Maybe they'll fight better together because they knew each other or something. Band of Brothers-esque. I'm not actually sure that's how that show works. I shouldn't make references to things I'm not aware of. A nice invention. Increases supply consumption, which means we're probably going to have to raise taxes again to compensate. But the increase in attack will be invaluable when fighting against other uncivs. So I'm going to raise these taxes, and that's not quite enough. Dropping administration, dropping education, dropping defense, and dropping naval. Oh, well, of course, that's why. I'm going to undo all of that because I was dumb and did not realize that all that cost was coming from construction. But I am going to keep up the high taxes because they're still low enough. The 33%, if I am correct, is the break point at which point they start to have higher militancy. And so there's really not that much reason to keep it any lower than that unless militancy is high and I need to lower it faster. Which right now militancy is doing fine. I'm also going to go ahead and build a few frigates just to have a little bit better defenses for these transports. It'll probably be pretty costly, but I can afford it at the moment. And worst case scenario, I'll turn around and disband them, and not a lot of harm done. Oof, our military is ballooning. Gonna drop this back to 51%, just so that that price that I have to pay every month or every day doesn't continue to balloon up to epic proportions. It's looking like we need about 800 more before we can grab our first factory, at which point I will quickly convert over this national focus to aim at increasing craftsmen so that we can slowly start to industrialize, maybe have a head start once we eventually westernize. I'm going to turn off building and factory construction also, just because that tends to bog down the interface, and there's not really that much use to know where my capitalists will be eventually building railroads all the time. It's looking like we're having a hard time getting all the necessary parts to put together this navy, but that's alright. The armies aren't entirely put together yet either. Another newspaper. Oh, Sweden and Britain are happy. Mazel tov. El Salvador seems to have broken off from the UCSA. Another big part of... Yep, there we go. Another big part of Heart of Darkness is that rebels have been given a little bit more punch, so they're much more likely to break off. So it's very likely the UCSA will break up. Austria can, especially with crises that will have other powers want them to release perhaps more of Serbia or Yugoslavia, Hungary. The Ottoman Empire will almost certainly give up some land to Greece and to some of their other countries in the Balkans. So it should be interesting. By the end of the map, hopefully it'll be quite colorful and we will be sitting at the first place. Like, money's doing okay. I'm going to go ahead and raise the spending on the Navy. Not all the way up. Well, I'll put it at 80%. That's certainly a good place to be. And now I'm just... Oh, I didn't build enough these units, did I? I needed... Oh, never mind. I should pay more attention to the user face before I start to talk. Always open my mouth before I thought. And this should be done now. So here we go, Fabric Factory. Edo. Where is Edo? In Kanto. Let's get some craftsmen. Oh, well, we can't do that unless they're civilized. Womp womp, that's unfortunate. They're only building right now anyways, so we'll keep an eye on that. Probably just going to have to go ahead and subsidize it without that many switching over, but perhaps there will be some money in it, and either way, it's at least a good start. See, already some craftsmen knocking down the doors to work. All over the place. This is not a good choice on their part. They know that the only factory's in Kanto, right? I assume that's just because so many of them are getting their life needs fulfilled due to our low prestige. Oof. Apparently we're spending thousands and thousands on cement. That is not something I want to see. That's just because of the total that they want. We're only spending it slowly, at least. So, I'm going to go ahead, now that infamy is down at 4.34%, I'm going to go ahead and start to try and justify a war against Brunei. I'm going to call it Brunei. If that's wrong, then I can appear like an idiot on the internet. I'm okay with this. And then just finish up building. Wait for these frigates to build, hopefully. But if I finish up with the justification first, I will certainly just go ahead and invade.